Alright, before we get into the video, I want to say one thing before the trolls rush into the comments section. This video is not a story of politics. This video is a story of two men on opposite sides of the social and political spectrums, working together for the common good of the American people. Alright, that said, the national anthem is a song of gratitude, appreciation, and honor to our country, the United States of America. We sing it to honor what is on the surface a great country with many freedoms and great opportunity. But sometimes not everything operates the way it should. And that is why in the 2016 NFL preseason, former 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick decided to stay seated while the rest of his team stood for the national anthem and protest social injustice. His actions went unnoticed for 2 weeks, but in the third week of the preseason, it caused an uproar. People all over, including myself at first, not gonna lie, were considering his protest disrespectful and insulting to our military, flag, and country. It was the talk of the NFL and not in a good way. Going into the final week of that 2016 preseason, the protests caught the attention of Nate Boyer, a former Green Beret of the United States Army turned NFL long snapper for the Seattle Seahawks. He did multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, walked onto the Texas football team, never having played football before, and found his way into the NFL. He is the definition of a patriot, and he was originally, along with a lot of Americans, extremely offended by what he perceived as disrespect from Kaepernick. An Army media outlet asked Boyer to write an opinion piece about the protests. Boyer didn't want to just write a piece ripping Kaepernick, so he decided to write his piece like a letter to Colin, trying to reason with him and see where he was coming from. Well, after he published it, it got the attention of Cap. In fact, so much so that he asked Boyer to meet up with him, so he did. The pair, who had never met before, met up and had a 90-minute conversation about the situation together, hearing each other out and finding common ground. Boyer supported Cap's right to protest and fight for what he believed in, regardless of his own beliefs. So the two worked it out and decided on a way that Cap could protest that wouldn't be disrespectful to the military and country, but still get his point across. This is what Boyer had to say on The Herd with Colin Cowherd about what that conversation with Colin looked like.
Wow. We were sitting there, literally there's like people walking by taking selfies and, trying to, I don't know what they thought was going on, but there was no cameras around. There was none of his people were around to like push a message or whatever. He just was listening. He was there to listen, and so was I. And it was a very, mature conversation. And like you said, I think a very big step of him to do that.
Oh, I think for both of you, it makes, this legitimizes Colin Kaepernick to me, that he's a grown-up, that he said, listen, I'm not about the trolling socks. What I'm about is a message. So when you were having an hour and a half conversation with somebody you've never met, that's a long conversation. Did you feel at some point, did he ask you at any point, like, I'm still going to protest, but Nate Boyer joining me, how do you think is the most appropriate way? Because who got him to the knee?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's pretty much exactly what happened. We talked about veterans issues. We talked about all kinds of things, and then we kind of got to where we're at today. It was Military Appreciation Night in San Diego, and already a big military town. And I told him, I said, it's Military Appreciation Night at the game. There's gonna be a lot of vets in the stands. And he's like, honestly, I didn't realize it was that. And I said, yeah. And I said, I mean, besides that, a way that a lot of veterans are seeing this kind of isolating yourself, sitting back on the bench. Maybe there's another way you can show that, And I suggested first that he stand. I mean, I want him to stand. You know what I mean? Right. I do. I suggested he stand maybe with his head bowed or something like that. And then we sort of came to a middle ground and decided, especially being alongside his teammates, I thought that was very important.
Yes.
That's more unified.
Sure.
And I said, taking a knee, honestly, it's a sign of respect. I mean, people take a knee to pray. We called it Tebowing a few years ago.
Yeah,
and now
right.
And now it's different. Now it's Kaepernicking, I guess. I don't know.
And every game after that conversation, Colin moved his protest away from sitting on the bench, away from his teammates during the anthem, to being next to his brothers and kneeling. To many, this was still a sign of disrespect, but you heard Boyer, a respected veteran, say it best. Kneeling is actually a sign of respect. Colin took into account the feelings of the people who fought for his freedom to protest and combined it with his cause to where he could still bring attention to the issues at hand. Now tell me, what is more American than two men on different sides of the social and political spectrum coming together to find a way to protest an issue while taking into account each side's feelings? The pair are still in conversation and friends to this day. You can disagree with Colin or call him disrespectful all you want, but he has done his best to account for all here. And if you are truly American and truly a patriot, you would respect his right to protest. Nate Boyer was instrumental in this, helping Colin see the other side, and he is a true American hero. Nate, thank you for your service, and thank you for doing your part in helping to stop social injustice in America. And Colin, thank you for peacefully protesting and bringing attention to the issues that you are passionate about, and doing it at maybe the biggest stage in America. So that is the story of why Colin Kaepernick takes a knee during the national anthem and what led up to that. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We drop really dope sports content every single day. Big things are coming to this channel. Have a blessed day.